In the vast, untamed corners of our world, a quiet drama unfolds. It is a story written not in words, but in action. From the sun-scorched plains of Africa to the frozen peaks of distant mountains, life persists. Here, the landscape itself seems to hold its breath, waiting. A gentle breeze whispers through the tall grasses, carrying secrets of the earth. The sun casts long, dramatic shadows that stretch and crawl across the ground. Every rustle of a leaf, every distant call of a bird is a note in an ancient symphony. This is the stage, a silent and sprawling arena where the greatest dramas of the natural world are performed day after day, often hidden from our view. These are lands of breathtaking beauty and profound stillness. Imagine a river winding like a silver ribbon through a dense green jungle. Its surface is calm, reflecting the sky above like a perfect mirror. Yet beneath this tranquil facade, a world of tension exists. The air is thick with anticipation, a feeling that something is about to happen. It is a place where life and death are separated by the thinnest of margins. The silence is not empty. It is filled with the unheard heartbeats of countless creatures, each one playing its part in the grand, unending cycle of existence. The quiet is a veil, masking the raw and powerful forces that govern this realm. The world appears peaceful, almost serene. A vast savanna stretches to the horizon, painted in hues of gold and amber. Acacia trees stand like lonely sentinels, their silhouettes stark against the immense open sky. It is a scene of profound tranquility, a postcard from a forgotten paradise. But this peace is deceptive, a temporary truce in a war that never ends. The very air hums with a low, constant vibration of readiness. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, is alert. They are listening, watching, and waiting for the moment when the silence will be shattered by the raw, primal cry of conflict. This is the great theatre of the wild. It is a place without walls, without an audience. Yet the performances are of the highest stakes. Here the rules are simple and absolute. Survival is the only prize, and the price of failure is steep. The sun rises and sets, the seasons turn, and the stage is constantly reset for the next act. The wind that blows across these empty spaces has witnessed countless battles, carrying the echoes of struggles long past. It is a world of raw power, of instinct, and of a beauty that is both terrifying and sublime. The quiet before the storm is a sacred moment, a pause in the relentless rhythm of life and death. Conflict in the animal kingdom is not born of malice or hatred. It is a fundamental force of nature, as old as life itself. It is a necessary dance, a violent negotiation that shapes the destiny of species. The drive to survive is the most powerful impulse of all. It pushes every living being to find food, to secure a home, and to create the next generation. This primal urge is the engine of evolution, the invisible hand that forges stronger, faster, and smarter creatures. The battles we witness are merely the outward expression of this deep internal struggle that every animal faces from the moment it is born. These confrontations are governed by ancient, unwritten laws. They are about more than just brute force. They are intricate rituals of power and purpose. A fight for territory is a fight for resources, for the very ground that provides sustenance and shelter. A battle between rivals for a mate is a battle for the future, for the chance to pass on one's legacy to the generations that will follow. These are not random acts of aggression. They are calculated risks, moments where the potential for reward outweighs the danger of injury or death. Each clash is a chapter in a much larger story of lineage and survival. The stakes are impossibly high. For the victor, the prize is life itself. It is the continuation of their bloodline, the security of their territory, the satisfaction of their hunger. But for the vanquished, the consequences can be devastating. Defeat can mean starvation, exile, or an inability to reproduce. In the most brutal encounters, it can mean a sudden and violent end. There is no room for sentiment in these moments. There is only the cold, hard logic of the wild, a logic that has been refined over millions of years of trial and error. Every contest is a test, a final exam where the only passing grade is survival. This is the raw essence of natural selection played out in real time. The strongest, the cleverest, and sometimes the luckiest will prevail. Their triumph ensures that their advantageous traits are carried forward, strengthening the species as a whole. The battles, as fierce and terrible as they may seem, serve a greater purpose. They are the chisel that sculpts the form of life, chipping away the weak and polishing the strong. They maintain a delicate balance, ensuring that populations remain healthy and that resources are managed. It is a violent yet elegant system of order in a world that can often seem chaotic. Across every habitat on our planet, champions are forged in the crucible of conflict. Each has evolved a unique set of tools and strategies for the fight. In the sprawling grasslands, the lion reigns. His roar is a declaration of power, a challenge that echoes for miles across the plains. His strength is legendary, a combination of muscle and ferocity designed for one purpose: dominance. He fights not just for a meal, but for his pride, his family, and his throne. The battles between male lions are epic confrontations, where the fate of a dynasty hangs in the balance, a raw display of kingly might. Look to the rivers and waterways, and you will find a different kind of warrior. The crocodile is a patient assassin, a relic from a prehistoric age. It is a creature of ambush and explosive power. For hours, it can lie in wait, perfectly still, a log with teeth. It waits for the moment of opportunity, the single lapse in concentration from its prey. The struggle that follows is a contest of leverage and brute force, a terrifying tug-of-war at the water's edge. The crocodile's battle is one of stealth and surprise, a deadly game where the water itself becomes an accomplice to the kill. Even in the vast emptiness of the sky, the war for supremacy rages on. The eagle is the master of the aerial domain. With eyesight that can spot a target from miles away and talons that can crush bone, it is a formidable hunter. But its greatest rivals are often its own kind. Eagles will engage in breathtaking mid-air combat, locking talons and spiraling towards the earth in a dizzying dance of dominance. These are battles for territory, for nesting sites, and for the right to rule the air. It is a vertical war, fought with grace, precision, and lethal intent. From the titans of the land to the hunters of the deep, the story is the same. Giant elephant bulls, their bodies scarred from a lifetime of combat, collide with the force of locomotives. Sly octopuses, masters of camouflage and intellect, engage in silent, strategic battles on the ocean floor. Every creature, in its own way, is a warrior. Each is equipped for the specific challenges of its world. In the episodes to follow, we will witness these epic showdowns. We will journey into the heart of these conflicts and explore the raw, untamed, and magnificent power of the animal kingdom's greatest battles. On the vast, golden canvas of the savannah, a king holds his court. He is a magnificent male lion, his mane a dark, formidable crown, framing a face etched with the scars of past victories. For seasons he has ruled this territory, his powerful roar a nightly proclamation of his sovereignty. His reign has brought a fragile peace to his pride, a period of stability where cubs can grow under his watchful protection. He patrols his borders with a confident, deliberate stride, his presence a powerful deterrent to any who would dare intrude. His life appears to be one of absolute authority, a monarch secure on his throne. But the crown of a lion king is heavy, and it rests uneasily on his head. The very air around him is charged with a subtle tension, a low hum of impending change. Younger, nomadic males, driven from their own birth prides, roam the periphery of his kingdom. They are ghosts on the horizon, shadows that flicker in the heat haze. They are hungry, not just for food, but for power. Each scent mark the king leaves on the acacia trees is not just a statement of ownership, but a challenge. It is an invitation to any lion strong enough and bold enough to try and take it all away from him. The old king can feel the shift in the wind. His senses, honed by years of survival, detect the subtle signs of rebellion. The calls of the hyenas seem more mocking. The vultures circle with a little more patience. His own pride watches him, their loyalty tied not to him personally, but to the strength he represents. He is older now. The explosive power in his muscles is tempered by the aches of 1,000 battles fought. He must rest more often, and his gaze into the distance is longer, more thoughtful. He knows his time is finite, that every sunrise brings him closer to the inevitable confrontation that will define his legacy. His life has become a constant vigil. Every unfamiliar scent, every distant roar sends a jolt of adrenaline through his aging body. He must be ever watchful, ever ready. The peace he has fought so hard to maintain is a delicate illusion, a thin sheet of ice over a deep, turbulent current of ambition. The whispers of rebellion are growing louder, carried on the dry winds that sweep across the plains. A challenge is coming. It is not a question of if, but when. And for the king, the only response is to be ready to meet it with all the fury and power he has left. He emerges from the long grass like a phantom, a vision of raw, youthful power. The challenger is in his prime, a magnificent specimen of a lion. His mane is not as dark or as full as the king's, but his body is a ripple of solid muscle, unburdened by the weight of age or the deep scars of countless wars. He has travelled for weeks, drawn by the scent of this prosperous territory, and, well, the promise of a pride to call his own. His eyes, bright and clear, are fixed on a single goal. He moves with a quiet, insolent confidence, his paws making barely a sound on the dry earth. He is the future, come to claim the present. The approach is not a sprint, but a slow, deliberate march. It is a war of nerves, a psychological game played out over miles of open ground. The challenger does not hide. He wants to be seen. He walks the borders of the kingdom, leaving his own scent marks over the king's, a direct and unmistakable act of defiance. He roars, but his call is different from the king's. It is not the deep, resonant boom of an established ruler, but the sharp, ambitious cry of a usurper. It is a declaration of intent, a promise of violence that echoes across the savannah and reaches the ears of the reigning monarch. The old king hears the call, and he rises to meet it. There is no hesitation. To ignore the challenge would be to admit defeat before the fight has even begun. He moves towards the intruder, his body language transformed. The weary monarch is gone, replaced by the hardened warrior. Every muscle in his body is tense, his head held low, his tail twitching from side to side. The two lions are now locked in a silent standoff, separated by 100 yards of no man's land. The air crackles with an almost visible energy. The birds fall silent. The grazing herds freeze, their heads raised, sensing the monumental conflict about to unfold. This is the final tense moment before the storm breaks. It is a ritual as old as the lions themselves. They circle each other, a slow, deadly waltz. Each lion assesses the other, looking for any sign of weakness, any flicker of fear. Their low, guttural growls are like the rumbling of distant thunder, a prelude to the lightning strike. They are two immense forces of nature, two irresistible wills on a collision course. The savannah holds its breath, the stage is set, and the ancient drama of dominance and succession is about to reach its violent, bloody climax. The charge is explosive. The tension snaps, and in an instant the two lions cover the ground that separates them. They meet with a physical impact that reverberates through the ground, a collision of bone, muscle, and sheer will. It is not a graceful duel. It is a maelstrom of violence. Paws the size of dinner plates, armed with claws like sharpened hooks, slash through the air. They rake at faces, shoulders, and flanks, each blow intended to cripple and disorient. The air is filled with a terrifying symphony of snarls, roars, and the sickening thud of bodies colliding. This is a fight where there are no rules, only the singular, brutal objective of victory. The initial chaos gives way to a desperate struggle for leverage. The lions rear up on their hind legs, becoming towering figures of fury, each trying to overpower the other. They grapple, their massive jaws snapping, searching for a hold on a throat or a spine. The thick, dark mane of the old king is not just for show. It is a vital piece of armor, protecting his neck from the challenger's lethal bite. He uses his experience, his knowledge of combat, to weather the initial storm of the younger lion's assault. He absorbs blows that would fell a lesser animal, his body a fortress built from a lifetime of war. The battle is a brutal dance of attack and counterattack. The challenger, fueled by the fire of youth, presses his advantage. He is faster, his movements more fluid. He tries to circle the older lion, to attack from the side, to find a weakness in the king's defense. But the old warrior is cunning. He stands his ground, turning to meet every assault, conserving his energy for decisive, powerful lunges. Dust and fur fly as they tumble across the ground, a whirlwind of golden bodies locked in a fight for everything. For one, it is the fight to create a dynasty. For the other, it is the fight to preserve one. Minutes feel like hours. The immense power required for such a conflict begins to take its toll. The pace slows, the explosive charges replaced by a grueling test of endurance. Both animals are now bleeding from dozens of wounds, their magnificent coats matted with blood and dirt. Their breath comes in ragged, heavy gasps. The raw fury gives way to a grim, dogged determination. This is no longer just a test of strength, but a test of heart. It is a question of who wants it more, who is willing to endure more pain, and who can summon the last reserves of power to land the final, decisive blow. The end comes not with a single dramatic blow, but with a slow, grinding surrender. The old king, battered and exhausted, can fight no more. His spirit is willing, but his body has been pushed beyond its limits. He stumbles, and in that moment of weakness, the challenger sees his chance. He lunges one last time, not to kill, but to assert his ultimate dominance. The old lion turns away, a gesture of submission that is understood by both. The fight is over. The challenger stands over the fallen king, his chest heaving, and unleashes a deep, triumphant roar that announces his victory to the world. The vanquished king does not die, but he has lost everything. He is stripped of his rank, his pride, and his home. Slowly, painfully, he rises to his feet. His body is a roadmap of his defeat, covered in deep gashes from which his blood drips onto the thirsty earth. He gives his former kingdom one last long look. He sees the lionesses of his pride watching from a distance, their allegiance already shifting to the new, powerful male. There is no pity in their eyes, only the cold, practical calculus of survival. With a heavy heart and a broken body, the old king turns and limps away, disappearing into the wilderness to live out his final days in exile. A new era has begun. The victor, now the undisputed king, patrols his newly won territory. His wounds will heal, and the scars will serve as a testament to his power. His first task is to secure his legacy. He approaches the pride, his presence radiating an aura of immense strength and vitality. The lionesses accept him as their new protector, the guardian of their future. The cycle of life, brutal and unsentimental, continues. The strength of the pride is renewed, infused with the vigor of a new and powerful bloodline. This is the harsh law of the savanna, a law that ensures only the strongest will rule. As dusk settles over the plains, the new king's roar echoes once more. It is a sound of possession, of power, of a reign just beginning. But it is also a sound that will travel on the wind, a challenge to other nomads who may be listening from the shadows. He has won the throne, but he knows, as the king before him knew, that it is a throne he will one day have to defend. The battle is over, but the war is eternal. On the great stage of the African savannah, the king is victorious. For now, long live the king. In the dappled light of the acacia woodlands, a change is underway. It is a change not of the seasons, but of the body and mind. A great bull elephant, a true titan of this ancient land, feels a familiar fire coursing through his veins. This is musth, a state of heightened aggression and hormonal surge that transforms him from a gentle giant into an unpredictable and formidable force of nature. A thick, tar-like secretion, rich with potent pheromones, oozes from the temporal glands on the sides of his head, staining his magnificent face with dark, glistening streaks. His posture changes, his head held high, his walk a swaggering display of power. This colossal bull is a walking embodiment of raw, primal energy. He is restless, driven by an overwhelming biological imperative to seek out females and to dominate any rivals who stand in his way. His low, continuous rumble, a sound that vibrates through the very ground, is no longer a gentle form of communication. It has become a deep, threatening growl, a constant broadcast of his dangerous state. The other, younger bulls in the herd sense the shift immediately. They give him a wide berth, their usual playful sparring silenced in the face of this immense and volatile power. Even the matriarchs, usually so confident, guide their families away from his path. His journey is a solitary one, a pilgrimage of power across the sun-drenched landscape. He moves with a newfound purpose, his immense bulk crashing through the undergrowth with an almost reckless abandon. The scent he leaves behind is a potent message, a declaration of his condition that travels for miles on the hot, dry air. It is a scent that both attracts and repels, a complex signal to the entire elephant society. To females in estrus, it is an irresistible call from a prime suitor. But to other large bulls, it is an unmistakable and direct challenge, throwing down a gauntlet that cannot be ignored. The world, as he perceives it, has narrowed to a single burning focus. The usual concerns of finding food and water fade into the background, replaced by the all-consuming drive to assert his dominance. He is a king in search of a kingdom, a warrior looking for a battle to prove his worth. His ears, like great leathery sails, fan back and forth, catching every sound, sampling the air for the scent of arrival. The storm is gathering strength within him, a tempest of testosterone and aggression. It is only a matter of time before this internal storm erupts into an external, physical conflict of truly epic proportions. On the far side of the waterhole, another giant has been watching. He is an older bull, the current dominant male of this area. His skin is a mosaic of scars, each one a memory of a battle fought and won. His own tusks, long and gracefully curved, are weapons honed by a lifetime of conflict. He is not in the fiery grip of Muth, but he is the established patriarch, and he will not yield his position lightly. He smells the approaching challenger on the wind long before he sees him, and the scent is a direct affront to his authority. He raises his massive head, his gaze fixed on the horizon, and waits. The challenger emerges from the tree line, a dark, hulking silhouette against the bright African sky. The two titans now stand on opposite sides of the clearing, the space between them charged with an almost electric tension. The air grows heavy, the sounds of the bush fading into a reverent silence, as if the world itself is holding its breath. This is not a sudden ambush. It is a formal, ritualized confrontation. They stand unmoving for what seems like an eternity. It is a battle of wills before the physical battle can begin, a silent negotiation conducted through posture and presence alone, a test of nerve between two colossal beings. Slowly, deliberately, the display of intimidation begins. The challenger kicks dust into the air with his powerful forelegs, sending clouds of red earth billowing around him. He shakes his head from side to side, a gesture designed to showcase the lethal size and sharpness of his ivory tusks. He unfurls his ears, making himself appear even larger, more immense than he already is. The older bull mirrors his actions, a calm but firm response. He does not waste energy on frantic displays. His power is self-evident. He simply stands his ground, a mountain of flesh and bone, an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. The preliminary rituals escalate. The low rumbles turn into deafening, trumpet-like blasts that tear through the air, proclamations of their strength and their refusal to back down. They begin to move, not towards each other, but parallel in a slow, deliberate march. It is a final chance for one to cede, to turn and walk away, to admit defeat without bloodshed. But neither bull yields. Their paths begin to converge, the space between them shrinking with every thunderous footfall. The challenge has been issued and accepted. The time for displays is over. The moment of violent collision is now inevitable. The impact is cataclysmic. With a final furious trumpet, the two bulls charge. They meet head-on with a sound like the cracking of a giant tree, a sickening crunch of ivory against ivory, of skull against skull. The force is unimaginable, a collision of more than 10 tons of bone and muscle. The ground itself seems to tremble beneath them. Dust and debris are thrown high into the air as they push against each other, a titanic struggle of pure, unadulterated power. This is not the swift slashing combat of a predator. It is a grinding attritional war, a battle of brute force and immense stamina. They are locked together now, a single struggling entity of grey skin and white ivory. Their massive trunks, usually so dexterous, are now used as powerful grappling tools, wrapping around each other as they wrestle for a superior position. They strain, every muscle in their colossal bodies screaming with effort. The goal is to push the opponent back, to turn him to expose his vulnerable flank. A successful shove could mean the difference between victory and a life-threatening injury. The sound is a cacophony of guttural groans, the sharp click of tusks clashing, and the heavy, rasping sound of their laboured breaths. The battle is a slow, brutal ballet. They break apart, only to crash into each other again and again. The older bull uses his experience, his knowledge of leverage and balance, to counter the raw, must-fueled fury of the challenger. He absorbs the charges, his feet planted deep in the earth, and waits for a mistake. The challenger, driven by his hormonal rage, is relentless. He presses the attack, trying to overwhelm the patriarch with sheer aggression, his tusks jabbing and probing, searching for an opening. The ground around them is churned into a chaotic mess of torn earth and splintered wood. This is a contest measured not in minutes, but in the slow depletion of energy. The immense physical toll begins to show. Blood trickles from cuts on their faces and shoulders, staining their dusty hides dark red. Their movements become slower, more deliberate, the explosive charges replaced by a grim shoulder-to-shoulder pushing match. The fire of Musth gives the challenger an edge in aggression, but the old bull possesses a deep well of endurance built over decades. The fight has become a pure test of will, a question of which giant can endure the most punishment, and which will be the first to break. The turning point is subtle, a momentary lapse in pressure. The older bull, his energy reserves finally depleted, falters. His powerful legs, which have held firm for so long, buckle ever so slightly. It is the opening the challenger has been fighting for. With a final, monumental effort, he drives forward, his immense weight and power finally overwhelming the patriarch's defences. He twists his head, using his tusks as levers, and forces the older bull to turn. The act of turning is a signal of surrender, an admission of defeat. The physical battle is over. Defeated, the old bull stands for a moment, his great head hanging low. He is exhausted, battered, and stripped of his status. There is no final, killing blow. The challenger allows him to retreat, his victory absolute and undeniable. The vanquished giant slowly, painfully turns and walks away from the waterhole he once commanded. He carries the weight of his defeat with a quiet dignity, his massive form disappearing back into the woodlands. His reign is over. He will now wander the plains as a solitary, subordinate male, his time at the apex of the hierarchy now just a memory. The victor stands alone in the clearing, his body trembling with adrenaline and exhaustion. He raises his trunk and lets out a triumphant, earth-shaking roar. It is a sound that announces his newly won status to the entire landscape. He is now the dominant bull. He has earned the right to the best resources and, most importantly, the right to mate. He walks to the waterhole, the prize of his battle, and drinks deeply, his reflection a portrait of a new king. His body is scarred and his tusks are chipped, but he wears these wounds as badges of honor, symbols of the brutal test he has just passed. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the savannah, the new patriarch surveys his domain. The other elephants, who had kept their distance, slowly begin to return, their movements showing a new deference to his presence. The cycle has turned. A new power has risen, forged in the crucible of combat. But the victor knows, just as the bull before him knew, that his position is temporary. Somewhere out in the vast wilderness, another young bull is growing stronger, and one day he too will feel the fire of Must and come to issue his own challenge. The weight of victory is heavy, as is the crown. The Great Migration is a river of life, a relentless, thundering flow of bodies across the East African plains. Hundreds of thousands of wildebeest, driven by an ancient instinctual map, follow the rains in search of green pastures. Now this tide of life has been brought to a halt. Before them lies a formidable barrier, a wide brown river. The air is thick with dust, kicked up by countless hooves. The sound is a constant low-frequency chorus of grunts and bleats, the nervous calls of a million thirsty animals, their bodies gaunt from the long journey. The sun beats down without mercy, and the need for water becomes an overwhelming, desperate force. The herd presses forward, a great mass of indecision and urgency. The animals at the front are pushed by the sheer weight of the thousands behind them. They approach the steep, muddy banks, their nostrils flaring as they sniff the air and the alluring scent of water. But they hesitate. There is a deep, primal fear associated with this place. Their instincts, honed over countless generations, scream a silent warning. They can see the prize, the cool, life-giving water just a few feet below. But they can also sense a hidden danger lurking just beneath the placid surface. This hesitation is a dance of survival, a weighing of risk against an unbearable need. The tension on the riverbank is palpable. It builds with each passing minute, a pressure cooker of instinct and desperation. Young calves, separated from their mothers, call out in distress. Bulls jostle for position, their nerves frayed. The entire herd is a single anxious entity, swaying back and forth at the precipice. They peer down at the water, their dark eyes wide with apprehension. The river flows slowly, its surface deceptively calm, reflecting the vast, indifferent blue sky. It offers life, but demands a terrible price. The wildebeest are caught in a torturous limbo, trapped between a deadly thirst and an even deadlier fear. This is the great dilemma of the migration. The river is both salvation and a potential grave. To stay on the bank means to succumb to thirst and exhaustion. To cross means to face the hidden terrors that are waiting within the murky depths. The collective courage of the herd must build to a breaking point, a critical mass where the fear of staying becomes greater than the fear of going. One animal must make the first move, a single brave leap of faith that will trigger a chain reaction, a stampede of life plunging into the unknown, hoping to reach the safety of the other side. Beneath the river's calm facade, a different kind of life waits. It is ancient, patient, and perfectly adapted to this moment. The Nile crocodile is a living relic, a creature whose design has been perfected over millions of years for one purpose: ambush. It lies motionless in the shallows, a masterpiece of camouflage. Only the top of its head, its eyes and its nostrils break the surface, appearing as nothing more than a piece of driftwood, a floating log. Its body, a heavily armoured torpedo of muscle, rests on the riverbed, invisible in the silt-laden water. Its heart beats at a slow, deliberate rhythm, conserving energy for the explosive violence to come. This creature is a master of patience. It can wait for hours, for days, its body perfectly still, its mind singularly focused. It is not driven by hunger in the same way a mammal is. A large meal can sustain it for months, even a year. This allows for an unparalleled level of selectivity. It does not need to chase or expend energy unnecessarily. It simply waits for the meal to come to it. The sounds from the riverbank, the bleating and stamping of the wildebeest, are a dinner bell that has been ringing for hours. But the crocodile does not stir. It is waiting for the perfect moment, the moment of maximum vulnerability. The river is its kingdom, and it knows every current, every eddy, every deep channel. Its senses are exquisitely tuned to this aquatic world. Pressure receptors along its jaw can detect the faintest vibrations in the water, the subtle disturbance caused by a hoof dipping into the river from 100 feet away. Its nictitating membranes, clear inner eyelids, allow it to see underwater with surprising clarity. Its powerful tail, a massive rudder of muscle, is coiled beneath it, ready to propel its body forward with breathtaking speed. It is a biological weapon, primed and ready, hidden in plain sight. As the tension on the bank reaches its peak, the crocodile sinks lower, disappearing completely from view. It is an act of supreme confidence, a final adjustment before the chaos begins. It moves slowly, silently, along the river bottom, positioning itself in the main crossing channel, the path the herd is most likely to take. It is not just one crocodile, it is an army. Dozens of these prehistoric hunters have gathered for this annual feast, a silent, armoured garrison lying in wait. The river has become a minefield, and the wildebeest are about to step into it. The patient assassin is ready. The stage is set for a massacre. The pressure becomes too much. One wildebeest, perhaps pushed from behind or driven mad by thirst, makes a decision. It takes a leap of faith, launching itself from the high bank and splashing into the water below. For a heart-stopping second, there is silence. Then, as if a dam has broken, the herd follows. 1,000 bodies pour over the edge in a frantic, chaotic cascade. The air is filled with the thunder of hooves, the desperate cries of animals, and the percussive sound of bodies hitting the water. The great crossing has begun. It is a panicked, desperate stampede for survival, a mad dash for the opposite bank. The river transforms from a placid waterway into a churning, chaotic soup of life and death. The water is a frenzy of flailing legs and desperate heads held high, each animal swimming with all its might. The noise is deafening, a symphony of panic. The wildebeest swim with a surprising strength, their bodies streamlined for the purpose. But it is a race against the current and against the unseen terrors below. They do not swim in neat lines. It is a disorganized, frantic mob, each individual fighting for its own life, often climbing over the backs of its neighbours in a desperate attempt to stay afloat and move forward. Down below, the silent hunters are spurred into action. The vibrations in the water are no longer subtle. They are a seismic event. The crocodiles move with a purpose and speed that belies their earlier stillness. They do not attack the main group at first. They are strategic. They move towards the edges of the chaos, looking for the stragglers, the young, the weak, or the injured. They are looking for an animal that is isolated, one that is struggling against the current or has been separated from the protective mass of the herd. This is the moment they have waited for, the culmination of their long, patient vigil. A young wildebeest, separated from its mother in the initial plunge, falls behind. It swims with frantic, tiring strokes, its eyes wide with terror. It is this animal, this single struggling life, that becomes the focus of one of the river's great predators. A dark shape, moving with terrifying speed, closes in from beneath. The wildebeest has no idea of the doom that is approaching. Its world is filled with the sounds of the herd and the struggle for air. It is focused only on the far bank, the promise of safety that is now just tantalizingly out of reach. It has made a single fatal choice, and now the river is about to claim its toll. The attack is an explosion of water and violence. The crocodile strikes from below with the force of a freight train. Its massive jaws, lined with dozens of conical teeth, clamp down on the wildebeest's hind leg. The initial impact is not designed to kill, but to anchor. The wildebeest lets out a piercing cry of terror and pain as it is dragged violently backward, its desperate forward momentum brought to a sudden, brutal halt. The water around it erupts in a frothy, churning foam as the struggle begins. It is the ultimate contest, the wildebeest's desperate will to live against the crocodile's implacable, crushing power. The crocodile begins its signature move, the death roll. Gripping its prey firmly, it uses its immense body and powerful tail to spin, twisting over and over in the water. This maneuver serves two horrific purposes. It disorients and drowns the victim, pulling it under the surface and filling its lungs with water. It also uses immense torsional force to tear flesh and break bones, a brutally effective way of subduing an animal far larger than itself. The wildebeest thrashes wildly, its head occasionally breaking the surface for a desperate gasp of air, but the fight is overwhelmingly one-sided. It is being pulled into the crocodile's world, where the rules are fatally different. The rest of the herd is oblivious. The stampede continues, a relentless tide of survival. A few nearby animals may shy away from the commotion, but the collective momentum of the herd is too great to stop. The struggle of one is lost in the larger drama of the many. Other crocodiles, drawn by the scent of blood and the sounds of a struggle, may converge on the scene. They will join the attack not to help the first crocodile, but to claim their own share of the kill. The river becomes a scene of a grim, prehistoric feast, a terrifying tug-of-war as multiple giants tear the carcass apart. The struggle is mercifully short. The wildebeest succumbs, its body going limp. The crocodile drags its prize into the deeper, calmer waters to consume it or stash it for later. On the surface, the river begins to quieten. The last of the wildebeest clamber onto the far bank, exhausted, dripping, and miraculously alive. They shake the water from their coats and continue their journey, leaving the river and its grim toll behind. For every life taken, hundreds, even thousands, have made it across. It is a brutal, bloody, yet essential part of the ecosystem. The deadly dance is over, but the river waits, patient as ever for the next time the great herd must cross. High above the jagged peaks and deep forested valleys, a different kind of monarch surveys his kingdom. This is the domain of the bald eagle, a realm not of earth or water, but of wind and sky. Perched on the highest branch of a dead skeletal pine, a magnificent male sits like a sentinel. His white head, a stark beacon against the brilliant blue canvas of the sky, turns slowly, his gaze piercing and intense. From this vantage point, he can see for miles. The world below, a tapestry of green and brown, is his territory, a land he has fought for and defended for years. His nest, a massive structure of woven sticks, rests nearby, a testament to his permanence and power. His life is one of solitary vigilance. He spends his days riding the thermal updrafts, great columns of warm, rising air that allow him to soar for hours with barely a flap of his immense wings. He is a master of this invisible architecture of the air, a creature perfectly attuned to the currents and eddies that flow around the mountain peaks. His eyesight is a marvel of evolution, 8 times more powerful than a human's. He can spot the glint of a fish in a lake thousands of feet below, or the slightest movement of a rival eagle trespassing on the far edges of his aerial territory. Every shadow that moves across the landscape is registered, analyzed, and assessed. This is a kingdom defined by invisible boundaries. They are etched not in the earth with scent marks, but in the sky with flight paths and soaring displays. The eagle's presence alone is a statement of ownership. When he circles high above the valley, his broad wings casting a fleeting shadow on the ground below, it is a warning to all who would challenge him. His call, a high-pitched, piercing cry, is not a song, but a declaration of sovereignty. It echoes through the canyons, a sharp, clear announcement of his rule, a sound that asserts his place at the apex of this vertical world. His reign is one of quiet, watchful dominance. But even in this vast open expanse, peace is a fragile commodity. The resources here are precious. The best nesting sites, the most productive hunting grounds, and the clear, fish-filled rivers. These are prizes worth fighting for. Younger, nomadic eagles without a territory of their own are a constant threat. They soar on the periphery, testing the boundaries, looking for any sign of weakness, any lapse in the resident male's vigilance. The king of the sky knows this. He is always watching, always ready. His serene posture belies a coiled tension, the readiness of a warrior who knows that his lofty throne is under constant threat. The challenge comes not from the ground, but from the sun. A dark shape, a mere speck at first, detaches itself from the blinding glare of the midday sky. It is another male eagle, a younger, more aggressive bird. He has been watching the resident male for days, studying his movements, assessing his strength. Now he makes his move. He does not approach tentatively from the edges of the territory. He flies directly into its heart, a flagrant and deliberate act of defiance. He soars with an arrogant confidence. His powerful wing beats a rhythmic drumbeat of war, a clear signal that he has not come to negotiate. This is an invasion. The resident monarch sees the intruder instantly. There is no surprise, only an immediate, instinctual response. He launches himself from his perch, a silent, powerful explosion of feathers and intent. With a few deep, driving wing beats, he gains altitude, climbing to meet the challenger in the open air. This is not a battle to be fought near the ground. The sky is their arena, and height is the ultimate advantage. The two birds begin to circle each other, spiraling upwards in a silent ascending dance. They are two masters of the air, their movements fluid and precise, each one assessing the other's skill and resolve. The intimidation displays begin, a terrifying aerial ballet. They fly close to each other, rolling and diving, showcasing their agility and speed. They call out, their sharp, angry cries cutting through the silence of the high altitudes. The intruder is bold, attempting to fly directly above the resident male, a classic move to establish dominance in the vertical world. But the older eagle is a seasoned veteran. He matches every maneuver, his movements economical and efficient, born of 1,000 similar encounters. He will not be easily intimidated. This is his sky, and he will not surrender it without a fight to the death. The circling grows tighter, the maneuvers more aggressive. They are now just feet apart, two immense birds of prey flying at incredible speeds. The tension is at its zenith. The ritual of display has failed to resolve the conflict. Neither bird is willing to back down. The challenge has been made and the response has been unequivocal. The only thing that remains is physical contact, the most dangerous and dramatic phase of aerial combat. The sky, once a symbol of freedom and open space, has become a claustrophobic arena, and the inevitable violent clash is now just seconds away. The moment arrives with breathtaking speed. In a flash of calculated aggression, one eagle folds its wings and dives, talons extended. The other rolls onto its back in midair to meet the attack, presenting its own formidable weapons. They collide. In an extraordinary display of aerial combat, they lock talons. They are now physically bound together, two warriors joined in a deadly embrace. The fight is no longer about speed or agility. It has become a raw contest of strength, a grappling match thousands of feet above the earth. They are a single spinning entity, a chaotic pinwheel of brown and white feathers against the blue sky. This is the grappling spiral, one of the most spectacular and dangerous behaviors in the animal kingdom. Locked together, they begin to fall. They tumble through the sky, spiraling downwards, gaining speed with every rotation. The wind screams past their bodies. Their powerful legs strain, each bird trying to gain a better grip, to twist a limb, to inflict a disabling injury. Their sharp, hooked beaks stab at each other's heads and eyes. It is a desperate, dizzying battle where the ground rushes up to meet them with terrifying speed. They are so consumed by the conflict that they seem oblivious to the approaching danger. The spiral is a test of nerve as much as it is a test of strength. The fall can last for hundreds, even thousands of feet. The stakes are impossibly high. The first eagle to let go is the loser, conceding the territory and the battle. But if neither bird releases its grip in time, the result is mutual destruction. They will both plummet to the earth, their bodies shattered by the impact. This is the ultimate game of chicken, played out in 3 dimensions. The fate of both birds hangs on a split-second decision, a choice between pride and survival, between victory and a shared, fatal end. Just moments before they would crash into the trees below, something gives. The younger challenger, perhaps lacking the iron will of the veteran, or perhaps realizing the suicidal nature of the plunge, is the first to break. He releases his grip. In an instant, they separate, their wings catching the air, breaking their fall just above the canopy. The challenger, beaten, flies away low and fast, not daring to look back. The resident king, battered but victorious, circles once more, climbing back to his lofty domain. He lets out a triumphant cry, a sound that reasserts his rule. The aerial clash is over. The kingdom of the sky is secure, for now. We descend now from the sunlit sky to the twilight world of the ocean floor. Here, in a garden of swaying kelp and strangely shaped corals, life moves to a different rhythm. The water is cool and heavy, and the light from the surface filters down in shifting, ethereal beams. It is a world of silent, slow-motion dramas. On a patch of sandy seabed, nestled amongst the rocks, a creature of formidable design stands its ground. It is a large crab, a living fortress. Its body is encased in a thick, calcified shell, an almost impenetrable suit of armor painted in colors that mimic the surrounding stones and algae. This is its castle, and it is a master of defense. Its most prominent features are its claws. They are weapons of immense power, a combination of a vice-like grip and a shearing, cutting edge. One claw is often larger than the other, a specialized crusher designed to smash the shells of its own prey. The smaller, quicker claw is for tearing and manipulation. The crab moves with a deliberate sideways scuttle, its multiple legs providing stability and a surprising agility when needed. Its eyes, perched on retractable stalks, pivot and scan its surroundings independently, offering a panoramic view of its small but fiercely defended territory. It is a creature built for confrontation, a knight in armoured plate waiting for a challenge. The crab spends its day in a state of patient readiness. It is a scavenger and a predator, using its powerful claws to investigate crevices for snails or to break open the remains of a fish that have drifted down from above. Its existence is a localized one, centered around a favorite rocky overhang that provides shelter from larger predators. It knows every grain of sand, every piece of seaweed in its immediate vicinity. Its world is small, but its defenses are mighty. The very posture of the crab, its claws held up and slightly open, is a constant, silent warning, come no closer. It is a declaration of its readiness to fight. This armoured warrior seems almost invincible in its small domain. The sheer strength of its exoskeleton and the crushing power of its pincers are enough to deter most would-be attackers. It is a testament to an evolutionary strategy of defense, of creating a body so well protected that conflict becomes an unattractive option for any aggressor. But this alien garden is home to another kind of intelligence, a creature that does not rely on brute force or heavy armor. A silent, creeping shadow is approaching, a being whose methods are as sophisticated as they are alien. The fortress is about to be besieged by a ghost. It flows over the rocks like a living liquid, a being of pure muscle and mind. The octopus is an otherworldly intelligence, a master of camouflage and deception. It has no bones, its body a fluid sack of tissue that can squeeze through the tiniest of cracks. Its skin is a magical canvas, capable of changing colour, pattern and even texture in an instant, allowing it to vanish completely against any background. One moment it is a mottled rock, the next a clump of seaweed, and the next a patch of empty sand. It drifts through the water with an eerie grace, propelled by gentle jets of water, its 8 arms trailing behind it like the train of a ghostly robe. This hunter does not rely on armor, but on its extraordinary brain. The octopus is one of the most intelligent invertebrates on the planet. It can solve problems, learn from experience and use tools. Each of its 8 arms is lined with powerful suckers, and each arm seems to possess a mind of its own, capable of independent action while still being coordinated by the central brain. It approaches the crab's territory not with a direct charge, but with a slow, calculated stealth. It is a creeping shadow, a thinking predator that assesses the situation from multiple angles, its large, complex eyes watching the crab's every move. The octopus glides from one patch of cover to the next, its movements so slow and fluid they are almost imperceptible. It blends into the seafloor, its presence betrayed only by the faintest ripple in the water. The crab, with its stalked eyes, senses a change, a subtle shift in the shadows, but it cannot pinpoint the source of the threat. It raises its claws higher, a gesture of heightened alert. The octopus freezes, becoming one with the seascape, waiting with an unnerving patience. This is a battle of wits, a silent chess match being played out in the deep. The octopus is testing the crab's defences, looking for a weakness, an unguarded angle, a moment of distraction. The moment comes. The octopus decides on its strategy. It will not meet the crab's formidable claws head-on. Instead, it will use its unique physiology to its advantage. With a sudden, silent surge, it moves not from the front, but from above and behind. It is a flowing, multi-limbed cloud of motion. The crab, sensing the attack at the last second, tries to turn, its claws snapping at the empty water. But it is too late. The octopus descends like a living net, its 8 powerful, sucker-lined arms enveloping the crab's armoured body completely, smothering its defences and pinning its deadly claws against its shell. The siege is over. The fortress has been breached from within. We have journeyed across sun-scorched plains, plunged into murky rivers, and soared into the endless blue of the sky. We have witnessed the raw, untamed power of nature in its most elemental form. From the clash of lion kings to the earth-shaking duel of elephant bulls, from the patient ambush of the crocodile to the dizzying aerial combat of eagles, the story is both brutal and beautiful. These are not mere acts of violence. They are the essential rhythmic heartbeats of the wild. Each conflict, each struggle, is a thread in a vast and intricate tapestry, a complex web of life and death that maintains a delicate yet resilient balance across our planet. These battles are the engine of creation and refinement. They are the unforgiving crucible in which life is tested, strengthened, and perfected. The victor's triumph is not just a personal gain, it is a vote of confidence from nature itself, ensuring that the strongest, fittest, and most adaptable genes are carried forward into the next generation. The defeated are not simply losers in a game. They are the sacrifices that feed new life, their bodies returning to the earth to nourish the very ground their rivals will now command. It is a system devoid of malice, governed by a profound and ancient logic that has sculpted life for millions of years. The echoes of these epic showdowns resonate through the ecosystems they inhabit. The rise of a new lion king revitalizes the pride, while the victory of a bull elephant ensures the health of the herd's future lineage. The crocodile's hunt culls the weak from the migrating herds, strengthening the overall population. Every battle, no matter how small or seemingly isolated, sends ripples through the community of life, reinforcing the unwritten laws of the wild. It is a world of high stakes, where every day is a test, and survival is the only prize that matters. The silence that follows the storm is filled with the promise of renewal. As we draw back from these intimate moments of conflict, a larger picture emerges. It is one of a world that is profoundly interconnected, a world where the struggle for dominance and the fight for survival are not agents of chaos, but the very architects of order. The raw power we have witnessed is the fierce protective energy of life itself. These battles will continue long after we are gone, an unending echo in the wild heart of our world. They are a timeless and reverent reminder that in nature, every ending is also a beginning, and in every fight there is a powerful, untamed, and magnificent beauty.